Ms. Alonso?
Here.
Ms. Campos?
Present.
Mr. Dix? Ms. Knox?
Here.
Ms. Martorano?
Here.
Dr. Mayberry Mays? Online, Dr. Mayberry Mays? Ms. Norris?
Here.
We have quorum.
First, I'm going to read a statement on behalf of the board. Thank you for joining us this evening. As a district, we are navigating through an unprecedented few days with the abrupt arrest and detention of Superintendent Dr. Ian Roberts by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and appreciate the chance to share an update with you tonight. The allegations made by ICE against Dr. Roberts are very significant, and the board is taking this very seriously. I want to be clear. At no point was any DMPS employee or board member notified that Dr. Roberts was not eligible to work by a federal agency or Dr. Roberts. This is an evolving situation, and we are learning new information on an hourly basis from a variety of different sources. Early this morning, we were notified that the Iowa Board of Educational Examiners revoked Dr. Roberts' license to practice as a superintendent in the state of Iowa. Without such a license, Dr. Roberts is not in compliance with his contract. That led to our action today, later this meeting, to change Dr. Roberts' leave to unpaid administrative leave. Today at 2:15 p.m., we received a document from the Department of Homeland Services notifying us that Dr. Roberts is an unauthorized worker in this country. Later this afternoon at 3:45, we then received a copy of the final order of removal issued by the U.S. Department of Justice and signed by an immigration judge. We have asked Dr. Roberts' attorney to provide us with clarification around the citizenship matters by Tuesday at noon. We need to understand what happened and why. This latest news means that at this time, unless we receive new material information tomorrow at noon demonstrating that Dr. Roberts is eligible to work, our board will commence the process required by Iowa Code, Chapter Code 279, to end the contract with the superintendent. It is very important that we abide by the due process afforded to Dr. Roberts under the law. As a board, our job is to protect the 35,000 students and staff that walk through our doors daily, serve as good stewards of our taxpayer dollars, and comply with all federal and state laws. We must also be responsible and ensure that we have all the facts to make decisions. We can tell you that on his I-9, he stated he was a citizen, and he provided 2 forms of verification, a driver's license and a social security card. As is typical in other organizations, this is what employers ask of their employees. And as an employer, we trust employees to fill out their required forms truthfully and provide valid documentation. The Dentons Davis Brown law firm reviewed this and stated that the information presented on and with the I-9 did not raise concerns about his eligibility to work. We are working to comply with all federal and state laws and to make the best decisions for our students and staff members. We appreciate our partnership with Governor Reynolds, the Iowa Department of Education, the Department of Homeland Security, the State of Iowa Board of Educational Examiners, as well as Congressman Zach Nunn, who has made a FOIA request of ICE. Finally, many things can be true. Dr. Roberts brought enthusiasm to the district, and a lot of our students identified with him and the enthusiasm he brought to the classroom. This type of information is very difficult for our students and staff to process. Please respect and understand that and continue to support our 30,000 students and 5,000 staff who do the important work of teaching and helping our students learn, as evidenced by some of our most recent scores. The board and district must continue to pursue the facts and follow the law. I encourage all of you to only share facts, not spread misinformation. Finally, our kids are watching this closely, and they are scared and concerned. Our community has students from all across the world, and this is personal. Our teachers and staff are here to support them. We would appreciate it if the hateful rhetoric directed at our district and staff please stop so we can ensure as minimal disruption as possible. Thank you. We are now moving on to action item D1, action of,
Do we need to share in Spanish?
thank you. We are now going to read the statement in Spanish by School Board Member Ms. Alonso. Thank you.
Gracias por acompañarnos esta noche. Como distrito, estamos atravesando unos días sin precedentes tras la abrupta detención y arresto del superintendente Dr. Ian Roberts por parte del Servicio de Inmigración y Control de Aduanas de los Estados Unidos, también conocido como ICE. Y agradecemos la oportunidad de compartir una actualización con ustedes y responder a sus preguntas esta noche. Las acusaciones presentadas por ICE contra el Dr. Roberts son muy graves y la Junta Directiva lo toma con la máxima seriedad. Quiero dejar claro, en ningún momento ningún empleado de DMPS ni miembro de la Junta Directiva fue notificado por ninguna agencia federal ni por el Dr. Roberts que el Dr. Roberts no era elegible para trabajar. Esta es una situación en desarrollo y estamos recibiendo nueva información cada hora de diversas fuentes. Temprano esta mañana fuimos notificados de que la Junta de Examinadores Educativos de Iowa revocó la licencia del Dr. Roberts para ejercer como superintendente en el estado de Iowa. Sin dicha licencia, el Dr. Roberts no cumple con su contrato. Esto nos llevó a tomar la decisión hoy de cambiar su permiso a licencia sin goce de sueldo. No licencia, ausencia. Hoy a las 2:15 recibimos un documento del Departamento de Seguridad Nacional notificándonos que el Dr. Roberts es un trabajador no autorizado en este país. Más tarde, esta tarde a las 3:45 p.m., recibimos una copia de la orden final de deportación emitida por el Departamento de Justicia de los Estados Unidos y firmada por un juez de inmigración. Pedimos al abogado del Dr. Roberts que nos brinde una declaración sobre la cuestión de la ciudadanía antes del martes al mediodía. Necesitamos entender qué ocurrió y por qué. Esta última noticia significa que en este momento, a menos que recibamos información nueva y sustancial mañana al mediodía que muestre que el Dr. Roberts es elegible para trabajar, nuestra Junta comenzará el proceso requerido por el capítulo 279 del Código de Iowa para finalizar el contrato con el superintendente. Es importante que respetemos el debido proceso que la ley otorga al Dr. Roberts. Como Junta, nuestro deber es proteger a los 35,000 estudiantes empleados que ingresan por nuestras puertas cada día, ser buenos administradores de los fondos de los contribuyentes y cumplir con todas las leyes federales y estatales. También debemos ser responsables y asegurarnos de contar con todos los hechos antes de tomar decisiones. Les puedo decir que en su formulario I-9, él declaró ser ciudadano y que proporcionó 2 formas de verificación, una licencia de conducir y una tarjeta del Seguro Social. Como es habitual en otras organizaciones, esto es lo que los empleadores solicitan a sus empleados y como empleadores confiamos en que los empleados completen los formularios requeridos de manera veraz y presenten documentación válida. La firma de abogados Dentons Davis Brown revisó esta información y afirmó que lo presentado en y con la I-9 no generó preocupaciones sobre su elegibilidad para trabajar. Estamos trabajando para cumplir con todas las leyes federales y estatales y tomar las mejores decisiones para nuestros estudiantes y empleados. Agradecemos nuestra colaboración con la gobernadora Reynolds, el Departamento de Educación de Iowa y el Departamento de Seguridad Nacional, la Junta Estatal de Examinadores Educativos de Iowa, así como el congresista Zach Nunn, quien ha solicitado información a ICE a través de una FOIA. Finalmente, muchas cosas pueden ser ciertas al mismo tiempo. El Dr. Roberts aportó entusiasmo al distrito y muchos de nuestros estudiantes se identificaron con él y con la energía que él llevaba al aula. Este tipo de información es muy difícil de procesar, tanto para nuestros estudiantes como para nuestro personal. Les pedimos que respeten y comprendan esto, y que continúen apoyando a nuestros 30,000 estudiantes y 5,000 empleados que realizan la importante labor de enseñar y ayudar a nuestros estudiantes a aprender, como lo demuestran los resultados. La Junta y el Distrito deben seguir buscando los hechos y cumplir la ley. Les animo a que solo compartan información verídica y no propaguen desinformación. Por último, nuestros niños están observando todo esto muy de cerca y están asustados y preocupados. Nuestra comunidad está formada por estudiantes de todo el mundo y esto es una cuestión personal. Nuestros maestros y personal están aquí para apoyarlos. Agradeceríamos que cualquier discurso de odio dirigido a nuestro distrito y personal se detenga para poder garantizar la menor interrupción posible.
Thank you. At this point, we will move to action D1, action on administrative leave of the superintendent, and I will turn it over to Ms. Knox. Oh, Ms. Campos, thank you.
I would like to make a motion to place Dr. Roberts on unpaid leave effective 12 a.m. on September 29, 2025.
We have a motion by Ms. Campos. May I have a second?
Alonso, second.
We have a motion by Ms. Campos and a second by Ms. Alonso. Ms. Rios, can you please take the vote?
Oh, I have a comment for discussion.
Yes, please.
Yes. So I wanted to share that today, Mike Cavan, Executive Director for the State Board of Educational Examiners, notified DMPS that they had revoked the license of Superintendent Dr. Ian Roberts. At 12:55 p.m., we asked the Iowa Board of Educational Examiners to provide the documentation they used as the basis for their decision to revoke his license, but we also accept this decision as fact. The loss of a superintendent license triggers unpaid administrative leave, which we could not do until the license was revoked or until concrete evidence was received that Dr. Roberts has been determined ineligible to work. Today, the board will vote to approve moving Dr. Roberts from paid administrative leave to unpaid administrative leave. To those concerned about taxpayer dollars, this is retroactive, so Dr. Roberts will receive no pay or benefits effective Monday, September 29th at 12:01 a.m.
We have a motion by Ms. Campos and a second by Ms. Alonso. Ms. Rios, can you please take the vote?
Ms. Alonso?
Yes.
Ms. Campos?
Yes.
Mr. Dix, I don't believe he's online. Ms. Knox?
Yes.
Ms. Martorana?
Yes.
Dr. Mayberry Mace?
Yes.
Ms. Norris?
Yes. The vote is approved 6-0. At this point, thank you, and without objection, the meeting is adjourned at 6:45 p.m.
There may be some questions too for specific items that I'll respond to or our council. So with that, I'll turn this over to Board Chair, Ms. Norris.
Thank you, everybody. I'll do my best to answer questions, and if not, I'll clearly state that I do not know the answer, but we will get back to you with an answer if we can provide it.
Jackie, we have not been able to get confirmation. Clearly, the State Board of Education has got about whether or not
I cannot confirm how the Board of Educational Examiners made their decision. We have asked for the documentation that they used to make that decision. What we have received from the Department of Homeland Security was information stating that they had the basis to determine that Dr. Roberts was ineligible to work in our country. It is very important for us to take a moment and make sure that we have the basis for any decision we made. So we have asked Dr. Roberts' attorney by tomorrow at noon to provide a set of documents, including the information to verify his citizenship status.
What is the mood of the district and how has this affected that mood?
Yeah. You know, when we think about this as board members, we think about the kids. And, you know, he sparked a joy in our kids and an excitement in our kids. And that's, I think it probably over time is probably heartbreaking if it turns out that his citizenship status is in question. So on the flip side, I do want to say one thing. We have total confidence in Matt Smith as our interim superintendent. He is leading with such grace, and he is leading his principals, and they are supporting the teachers and students and staff. And so two things can be true. You can feel disappointed and process that. And at the same time, the staff also has to move forward to make sure the conditions for learning for our students are there.
Jackie, you called for radical empathy. Are you still calling for radical empathy, and is the board taking any responsibility for his hiring?
Yeah, you know, I appreciate the question. So the board operates in good faith in partnership with the search firm that we used. And so a search firm is hired, very typical in a process. The board contracts with a search firm, and the search firm is given a set of parameters for what we're looking for in a superintendent. They go out and they provide a list of candidates to us. We go through the interview process, and then they in turn work with a third party to do all of the vetting, and I think the vetting includes criminal background check and other checks, and then they come back with a recommendation for us. And so we are operating on the information that was given to us, and there was nothing in the information that was given to us to allude to any question about his citizenship.
React to what happened on Friday. He left the scene, he had a gun, he had a knife. This is so strangely. How have you dealt with that, and how unusual is it?
I mean, I think it's jarring, right? It is, I mean, we all found out with everybody else from the news. And so I think for us, our responsibility is to do what is right and in the best interest of the district and to provide the continuity that we needed to. And so obviously one of the first things we did was when Dr. Roberts was detained and no longer able to lead the district because he was physically unable, was turning to Matt Smith and asking him to take over and lead as interim superintendent and move the district operations forward, because at that time we had over 35,000 students and staff in our buildings.
You talk about the kids a lot, and I know it sounds kind of simple, but it sounds like he was a big part of so many kids' lives. How do you explain this to a child, what's happening right now?
Yeah, you know, one of the things I'm really proud of of interim superintendent Matt Smith, along with his team of advisors, is working with principals and teachers on how to talk to children about a very difficult situation. And so citizenship is a very complex issue. It requires multiple documents, and that is something that we are entrusting our staff, along with the families, to talk with their children about what citizenship means, and also to help people understand that two things can be true. It is possible that you may not be a citizen, but you are still a good human being.
What would the Iowa Board of Examiners, educational examiners, have been reviewing? Would it have been the same materials that you did, the Social Security card and the driver's license?
I don't know what basis they use. I do know that in addition to the things that we've talked about, they also do a fingerprinting check as well.
So you found the weapons inside of the district vehicle. You talked to me, and that is grounds for termination and why he may have had that vehicle around that day?
Yeah, we were completely shocked about the guns. And our board policy states that guns are not allowed on district property at district sanctioned events. And so we were as shocked as everybody else was to learn of that.
But is that grounds for termination, if you find an employee with a weapon in a district vehicle, is that itself grounds for termination?
Yes.
We've heard a lot of speculation about Dr. Roberts' background and everything. I'm just wondering, what have you been able to find out about his academic background? Yes, spoken about in this show.
You know, I think everybody's piecing together a story of Dr. Roberts' background. What we are doing is waiting to hear back from Dr. Roberts' attorney, who is at Parish Crideneer, who has been asked to provide us a comprehensive immigration and education history so that we can have a comprehensive picture.
You have immigrant students, you have refugee students, you have undocumented students. How are you making sure that they feel safe at school?
Yeah. The most important thing we can do as leaders, as a community, is to put as much love and compassion for these students as possible. These are young children trying to process a very difficult subject. And so I think both at the academic level, making sure that teachers and staff feel comfortable having conversations with students. We've sent out notifications and information to families to help them think about ways to talk to their students. And I think we've also made it clear as a board that we do not want hateful rhetoric directed at our staff, directed at our students, directed at the board, because it is not helpful.
As you look back at the hiring process these last few days, has there been anything you found, mistakes that were made, things that you wish you would have done differently looking at it in light of this?
Yeah, you know, in hindsight, I think there is nothing we would have done differently because we followed the process. I think and quite honestly, this is the process that many employers use all across the country. And so I think the one thing we will do after this is a kind of an after-action review to identify ways that we might strengthen or even enhance the process. So I think two things can be true. We followed the process, which is the same process as other employers. And yet, we will look for ways to strengthen the process given what's happened.
Community members,
I'm going to go over here.
community members have told me that they are still shocked and just processing this, a couple days after. We talked about the children, but just the people in the community, maybe even people that don't have students here, what would you say to them?
Yeah. Look, this is an individual who brought a lot of enthusiasm and vibrancy to our community and sparked energy around public education. And we also can continue to have that conversation. Public education is a critical element of our country. And we're going to keep having that conversation. And I know that the people that are grappling with this, I also know that in the spirit of where we are right now, what they want is the best for our students, which is a high quality public education.
Well, this is looking ahead to November, so a little bit, but you have the bond referendum that's on the ballot, $265 million. Dr. Roberts was the spearhead for that. So I guess, what is messaging turned to now? I've seen some comments on social media discussing that, people saying, hey, vote it down. I guess I'm just curious.
Yeah. What most people forget is that the Reimagining Education actually was catalyzed by a very big, broad board vision to reimagine the way our students learn and think. And it was actually put together comprehensively by a lot of staff, including our interim superintendent, Matt Smith. And so, and it was informed by our community, by our parents, by our students. And so all of those same things exist. So our job is to take this big vision and ask our community to invest in our kids. And by all indications, we are moving forward and we have community support to do that.
Is there a message you would have for parents who might have some concern about the hiring process within the district?
We should feel very confident about our hiring process. We background check every employee. We have verified documentation. It is something we do on a regular basis. And so I think I can speak with confidence that we have gone through, every employee we've taken through a process.
No changes now since this happened?
I can't speak to that yet. I think there may be changes. I don't know what they might be. But again, the process that we have followed is the correct process.
Super quick, are you reaching out to any other school districts or any other education institutes to kind of cross notes? Because I know this is a very confusing situation.
Yeah, I think when we do after-action review, we're going to talk through best practices and how other school districts handle things. We're just not at that point right now.
For those struggling.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. For those struggling, whether they be students or staff, what are you offering? Like counseling, what kind of things, structural supports are you offering?
Yeah, I'd love to leave that specifically to our interim superintendent, but I do know we have provided resources. And so whether it's mental health counselors or it's trusted staff members that people can come and talk to. Yeah, thank you. It's a great question.
If having a firearm, if having a firearm in your possession in the city vehicle is grounds for termination, why was he put on paid leave or unpaid leave instead of termination?
Yeah, we are continuing to gather all of the facts, and that is something that will be factored into our decision to move through the process.
Question.
Yeah.
Any idea if security number that Dr. Roberts
We don't know. We're seeking information from Dr. Roberts and his attorney.
You mentioned that DHS provided a copy of his order removal, and I wanted to ask, what information would you guys need to see for his contract to not be terminated at this point if there is a final order of removal that was provided?
Can you repeat again from Department of Homeland Security?
Yeah, like what kind of information are you
Yep.
asking for from his lawyers, given that DHS or DOJ has provided this final order?
I think what we'd like to do is let the process play out, which is why we've asked Dr. Roberts by tomorrow at noon to provide a series of pieces of information that could refute the information that we're receiving. If we don't receive that information, then we will continue to move forward towards a different process.
And what does that process look like?
So it is a 279 contract, and I will have to ask Phil or others to answer, but at a high level, the board makes a decision to recommend termination, and then it opens up a process where the employee actually has the opportunity to, for 5 days, to appeal that decision, and then things continue from there. So it is a longer process, but that is, as an employee of the state, we are a public entity, and so it is not something that you just snap your fingers and do. So the process that we're moving forward to is consistent with how other administrators would be handled in this situation.
Let's take time for just a couple more.
Yeah, thank you.
I've talked to a lot of people over the past few days, parents, community members, staff, who are really upset with how this happened. That, granted, you said you didn't have notice of his order of removal until today, but everyone's asking the question, he's so visible, so prominent in the community. Why did he get taken the way that he was taken? Why wasn't there contact to the rest of the district if they needed to come and get him? Do you share those frustrations with ICE and DHS and how they handle this?
Look, I think there's probably more professional ways that ICE could have handled this issue. And at the same time, we don't have the information that they do. We don't know why they chose to do it when they did. And so we have to respect that they had a process in place. I do think that, as an employer moving forward, one of the things that I think every employer should be asking themselves is the obligation of some federal entity to notify the employer when there is an actual issue that we should be made aware of. No, so we have just requested that information, and from there, we will assess that information, and then we will be meeting at some point tomorrow evening to discuss as a board what our next steps will be.
Will that be an open meeting or a closed meeting?
I think, we've been very careful to err on the side, well, let me say it differently. We always will try to meet in open session if we are talking about information that is already in the public domain. If there are material elements that are solely for board information as it relates to Dr. Roberts or Dr. Roberts' attorney, we will at that point use that as a basis to go into closed session. Our goal is to be as transparent as possible because we have nothing to hide. And at the same time, I think we have to see what facts unfold, and we don't know that yet.